Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jake with Fitness Insider coming at you guys with another good one today. But first, as always, hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you guys join the family. I want to give a special thanks to everybody who has been supporting the channel, liking the videos, commenting, subscribing. You guys really are awesome. You make this thing worth doing. So really, special thanks. I really do appreciate you guys. All right, so what I'm going to talk about today is something I've actually been wanting to talk about for a long time. I've been making my complaints. I've heard a lot of other people's complaints throughout the years. So what we're going to talk about today is my biggest problems. What I see are the biggest problems with bodybuilding in today's world. And then I guess a couple solutions I think we could offer that would make the sport so much more enjoyable to watch. So go ahead and stick around for this one. This one's going to be a fun one. Okay, guys, so the first thing I want to discuss, perhaps the biggest thing out of all of these, is lighting. Lighting is one of those things that it's probably the most crucial thing to judge a bodybuilding competition accurately. If you don't have good lighting, granted, they're all subject to the same disadvantage. They're all on the same stage with the same lighting, so you can't really say it gives a huge advantage, but there are certain people, like Phil Heath per se, who strives on how conditioned he is. And if you have bad lighting, again, everybody suffers to some extent, but the guys with better structure tend to come out on top in that circumstance, because somebody that thrives on conditioning, if you can't see it, then you're really looking more at structure, because they all seem to not really be shining. They all seem to slightly be off. So lighting is super critical to judging a bodybuilding show, and just seeing that definition is everything. And I just don't understand how a sport can be decades and decades into this thing. We are still struggling with lighting. You would think, look, I understand venues change, there's different lights, there's different positions, a million different things that go into it. But I mean, come on, if you have one of the biggest shows coming up, or just any show really, there's no excuse. It's 2020 and we're struggling with lighting. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, guys, get your act together. If you're not sure how it's going to look, do a pre-run. Have a couple guys, maybe 2 days before the show, get on stage and just see how it looks. If it looks bad, make the improvements necessary. I do think I see improvements from prejudging to the night show on some occasions, but by then it's too little too late. Most of the judging's done in prejudging, so it's just something that needs to be paid attention to more. If we had a little bit of oversight there, somebody to really check each venue to make sure that the proper lighting is there, every show would benefit from this. So it's something that I propose that we pay more attention to lighting. That way us as fans and the judges can see what these bodybuilders are presenting. These guys put their whole lives into this stuff, It's like, let them present it under the right circumstances so we can see the hard work they've done. All right, guys, moving on to the second thing I want to talk about that I think is a problem in bodybuilding. Now, admittedly, this thing is a little bit more of a nitpick. It's not a massive deal, but it's something that frustrates me every single time, and that is how these bodybuilders seem to be way too close to each other, and they're bumping elbows and hitting each other and knocking each other off balance when they're trying to hit poses. Sometimes it's so bad to one of the contestants will literally say they're doing a back double bicep, and they'll just keep hitting each other to where one guy has to have his arm like 45 degrees down. Someone else gets bumped out of position so many times that he don't even get to hit the pose. And it's just, how is that fair? You know what I'm saying? And look, guys, sometimes I can see a point. Like, some people may say, hey, it allows you to be more alpha on stage, to look like you're fighting for that spot. Look, I get that, all right? Looking like you're trying to own the stage is one thing, but allow these guys to display their physiques. Like, it's stupid to me. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. These guys, a lot of times, they do have markers on the stage for where they're supposed to be standing, but they always inevitably move in and get too close. And very rarely do you see somebody get on the microphone and say, guys, separate. And I'm not saying to do it only when it gets bad. I'm saying make people stay in their squares or on their markers, and if they walk out of it, maybe give them a warning, and then after that, deduct points, because it's obnoxious, man. It takes away from the whole experience. It's unsportsmanlike, and it's something that needs fixed, and it's the easiest thing out of everything to fix. put some markers on the floor, make everybody stand in a way where they're close enough together to judge it, but far enough away to where they're not going to interfere with their poses. My solution. All right, guys, and one of my biggest problems I have with bodybuilding, and I think most people will agree with me on this one, is the fact that we don't seem to ever have a good way to get super good quality streaming, and the fact when we do get good streaming, it does these stupid angles where it's like, instead of just showing the stage, the whole freaking stage, it's always panning left, panning right, shooting like from the back double biceps. Sometimes they'll shoot from in front of these guys, showing their stomachs in the front of them when they're hitting the back double biceps. It's ridiculous. Not to mention, half the time the quality's bad. Some of these bigger events, you got to search the internet and try to find somebody streaming it on some weird site or something. It's pathetic, man. This is such a big organization, and you're telling me that you're going to put the whole industry, all of the fans, you're going to make them subject to whatever measly footage that we can find online? Why is there not a crew of people that go to every single IFBB Pro show and get set up center stage and just give a 4K or even just 1080p? 1080p, I'm fine with that. Just get a 1080p center stage every IFBB Pro show and just sit there. Don't pan, don't move around, don't try to edit in all this funky stuff. Center stage the whole time. We don't need all these little dynamic views and everything. I know what they're trying to do. I guess it's kind of commendable. They're trying to make it more exciting. But this is not, this is bodybuilding, guys. You know, it's not really the most exciting thing. What's exciting to us is watching the guys, all of them on the stage, present their bodies and deciding for yourself who looks the best and where improvements were made. You know, I don't care about these panning moves. Nobody wants to see that. I'm telling you, nobody wants that. What we want is to see every competitor on that stage and be able to see them all hit the shots at the same time. Half the time when it does this, you get to see maybe 3 people do their shot, and by the time it gets to the other side of the stage, they're already doing another pose. It's ridiculous. I don't understand how the people filming this stuff don't understand that. I mean, imagine if the judging panel had to score it based on that kind of footage. Yes, now you see the frustration of being a fan. So that is my input on this. It really would not be hard. Pay somebody to go to each show, center stage, decent enough, high quality camera, put it right there. Do not move it, put it on a tripod, and film everybody in the best quality that you can actually stream. And then also give us, even on, like, let's just say the IFBB website or something, or make a YouTube channel for the IFBB, just an official, maybe they already got one, but put it all there. Put it all there. That way, even if other people want to film it too and put it on their own sites, you can be sure that the IFBB will always be streaming their own contests with a good quality. It's as simple as it could ever be, and it's something that I don't understand how it escaped people for this long. Please do this for all of our sakes. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, so the last thing I want to talk about is the judging. In particular, what the judges are awarding nowadays, who they're picking to win the shows or get the top ranks. And let me just start with this. For decades, it seems like mass and conditioning were the two things that outweighed everything. And while, yes, the men's open bodybuilding, mass is a huge thing, as it should be. I love the mass monsters. When you got a huge dude that's peeled, that is impressive. It's hard to take your eyes off, and a lot of times they do deserve to win. My problem is all the times that they seem to reward the biggest, most shredded guy on stage, despite the fact that he has a blown out stomach, despite the fact that his lines look really unappealing and he just completely lost all proportion, okay? Here's my problem with it. If that's what these contestants are seeing as rewarded in each show, that is what they're going to modify their training and diet to really aspire after. They're going to chase that. They're going to chase the size. They're going to do crazy things to get shredded last minute. You know, that's not what we need in the sport right now. And again, when Sean Roden won in 2018 against Phil Heath, who was, you know, let's be real, right? Phil Heath, as far as muscle bellies, insertions, just genetics, the raw sum of his body parts was better than Sean Roden, right? And he killed him from the back. But they rewarded Sean with the victory, as they should have, because Sean brought a better package on those 2 days. He looked way better aesthetically. He had the perfect lines, the tight midsection. He was super peeled, even though Phil was very peeled too. They both were very conditioned. But Sean looked phenomenal. It was hard to take your eyes off him. While Phil, his stomach was a mess. And don't get me wrong, I am a massive Phil Heath fan. You know, he's one of the best of all time. But I do think he deserved to not win that year. I think Sean deserved it, and I'm so glad the judges gave it to him. And my point is, I really hope the judges continue with that trend and stop just rewarding the biggest guy. Stop just rewarding the most shredded guy. Start looking at all the things as it should be. The lines, the presentation, the symmetry, the proportion. All these things matter and should matter more than they do. And if they continue doing things like what they did with Sean Roden, now Brandon Curry. Brandon Curry has such a tight waist, amazing proportions. Granted, he has his flaws, as they all do. But if they keep going with this, where the guy with that hits all the criteria the best, if that's the guy that wins the show, all the other guys are going to chase that. Maybe they won't push the size if they think it's going to throw their lines. Maybe they'll work on developing different body parts that maybe are lagging a little bit, and their proportion will be better. Their symmetry will be better. That is what the sport needs, and that is what I hope the judges continue to start rewarding. I think they've been doing a damn good job lately, and I hope they continue to do a good job and push that idea, because that's what's going to make the sport better. But anyways, guys, to everybody that has stuck around so far, I really appreciate you. If you like what you see, definitely subscribe. It's been kind of slow lately in the industry, but once these shows start picking up, I'm telling you, I'll be all over them, giving you guys the updates as much as possible. So yeah, like the video, subscribe, and again, special thanks to everybody that stuck around this far in the video. I will see you on the next one.